A group of heroes came to the rescue for a Fort Myers comic book shop owner when he needed help the most.
Here is NBC2's Sean Martinelli with tonight's Story to Share.
Settle in for a superhero story that begins in our own backyard. At the comic cards and stuff store in Fort Myers, that's our protagonist, Brian Chandler, a guy with a long and deep obsession.
Pretty much, yeah.
With comics.
I've always been a collector, and I actually started collecting hardcore in middle school. And, you know, between me and my friends back then, we always used to think, hey, opening a comic store was the coolest thing ever.
Brian has always been proud of the fact that in addition to owning this place,
owner, operator, and chief flunky.
He's a bit of a nerd.
We're all nerds here.
Any story worth reading in this shop has moments that are both good and bad. In his 26 years in business, Brian has had his fair share of ups and downs too.
There's been really, really good times, and there's been really, really bad times, and then there's times like now that's been kind of, you know, really not good. And my bookkeeper figuratively pretty much said, this is what's going out, this is what's coming in, this is what you owe. What you're doing now, you're not getting that. It's one of those things like, you know, she told me that, and it pretty much just ripped my heart out and stomped on it.
The breaking point came last summer when Brian needed to close shop to take care of his ailing dad. Bad sales got worse. Brian wrote on Facebook that the store would have to close for good, barring a miracle. He couldn't believe what happened next.
It was overwhelming. You know, I really didn't know what the store and what I personally meant to a lot of these people.
Dozens of comments started pouring in from customers like Heather Parento.
As a girl, growing up reading comic books, I was never allowed to belong in the boys' world of comic books. And Brian never made me feel like I didn't belong here.
That is why, even as she deals with her own debt, Heather started a GoFundMe to help Brian with his. In the months since the campaign started, more than $3,000 has been raised for the shop.
He's wondered from time to time if he really impacts that many people, and I go, yeah, you do. You really do.
That money is just the beginning of a long road he'll need to walk. But for the first time in a long time, Brian can see a future.
I'm speechless with how much all this has meant to everybody, and I definitely feel like I've been, you know, saved with this kind of thing.
A comic store owner saved by the heroes he never knew he had. In Fort Myers, Sean Martinelli, NBC2.